if it loads. Hey, we're live. Welcome. And my computer's having fun with me tonight. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome back to the channel. With me tonight is director Michael Kallio, who just did. Which way ever I got to do it? Brady Bunch.
Up here,
Just,
down here, over there.
yes, and we're going to talk about his documentary, Dinner with Leatherface, which I
Dinner with
got.
Leatherface.
Yes,
Look at
I
that. You
got
got a physical copy and everything.
physical everything. It's glorious.
Did you watch all of it?
Yes, I watched all of it.
Did you watch the extras and everything?
I did. I did not watch the Jeff Burr stuff, but I did watch the other stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
like the Danielle Harris thing. I like the little question thing she did with him.
Oh, and it was funny story about that. It was something I saw on the YouTubes
Mm-hmm.
years ago, and I was like, I got to get that, and I couldn't track her down
Oh,
to save my life. I didn't want her to think I was stalking her. So I was like, I tried to play it cool, and then I knew people that knew her, or I knew reps, and it wasn't until and they reached out to her with little luck because she's busy. I get it,
yeah.
and she doesn't know who the hell I am. I'm just some schmo who made a documentary. But then it was a producer that came on later in the history of this long production of this documentary, Lowell Northrup, and he was like, I'll get a hold of her. And within like 2 or 3 weeks, she had signed off on it, and I was cutting it into the documentary shortly
That's awesome.
thereafter. So that was cool. And then, of course, I only used a little piece in the documentary, but we were like, why don't we just have her do an intro and show the whole thing? It'd be a nice little
Yeah.
extra feature for the Blu-ray. So that's
cool.
how that happened.
It was good. It was good. I like documentaries like this because I like learning about these like horror icons that we call and everything, and how
Sure.
I like learning the human, like get it to humanize them, to see who they
Sure.
really are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
And
do. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. You
No, I was
please.
gonna say you succeeded in that. You
Thank you.
succeeded with Gunner here.
I was going to say, if you're going to compliment me, please do.
Yes, yes,
Um,
I was compliment. You succeeded very well.
Thank you. And because Gunnar was a low key guy. He did his fan thing. He did the cons. But he was very, he didn't like to be the center of attention. He was very unassuming. And then when he was in Maine, when he was doing his own thing, he was a very private dude. So I didn't want to overstep my bounds as far as privacy with like his partner Betty and him. I asked for baby pictures, but I didn't pry. She was just like not interested in doing that, especially early on.
Yeah.
She was very generous to give me the pictures she gave me of her and Gunnar for the very end. And that was, I think, probably the last thing I put in the documentary. I was like, I called her. I was like, Betty, please. I have one picture of you and Gunnar. Give me one more, and I won't ask for anything else. And she did, and it worked out great. So she was an amazing champion for the doc. I kept her posted every step of the way, and I don't know if she's watched it yet. I can understand her not wanting to jump right in. It's still sensitive subject for her, and rightly so. I mean, they were together for a long time, but I feel like me and my editors, Josh Wagner and Julia David, the great thing was Julia had no idea who Gunnar was.
Right.
And Josh is a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but wasn't that familiar with Gunnar outside of that movie. And I knew all of it. And it was great to have the more green editors come in and help me tell the story because I would still be second guessing myself.
Right.
Too much. I know there's a few people out there that are like, it's a little long. Yeah, well, it ain't that long.
No, it's not really not that long. What is it like?
It's an hour and 46 minutes.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 46 minutes. I didn't
People
think
are
it was
like,
long.
it should have been 90 minutes. Well, I had more story to tell,
It was
and
good.
I
I
appreciate it.
wasn't looking at my sorry. I wasn't looking at my watch going, is this thing ever going to end? I was watching it going, I can't believe this. This is incredible and I want to know more. So
See everyone out
yes.
there. Greg wants to know more.
Yes.
Because we shot like 70 interviews,
Hmm.
almost 70 interviews, and I could have made a mini series out of it. But I like Schwarzenegger's documentary. It has the 3 hour long parts. I wasn't going to make a 3 hour documentary, but I sure wasn't going to do a series because then
Right.
nobody would have been interested. Gunnar used to say because for years I was like, we should do a documentary about you, and he'd be like, nah, I don't, nah, no one wants to see that.
Yeah.
I was like, I beg to differ, man. I think a lot of people will be very interested, and unfortunately, it took him to passing away for it to start the ball rolling. But
Right. Yeah.
um, you know, I think he was such an interesting guy, and there were a lot of stories I could add to the documentary and that, but like I said, it would have been long, and I wanted it to be just enough with a little extra love, and I think we pull it off. And I have my editors to thank for that for sure. Josh and Julia came in and really helped me find the story
Hmm.
because I knew what it was, I knew it was there, but they also made it fresh and pop, and it wasn't just talking heads. There's things especially
Yeah.
in the first half. It's like things are happening, and
Yeah.
you know, we wanted to keep it as interesting as possible, and they really kicked ass. They
I
really
thought you
kicked ass.
did. Yeah, I thought you did. I mean, I loved hearing of his journey into becoming Leatherface, and then what he did at like how he basically was like, "I'm done. I did Leatherface. I'm good."
Yeah,
And then
and
he's like,
and that was one of the things I wanted to avoid. I didn't want it to be. Look, we've got lots of documentaries about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, lots of behind the scenes talk about it, commentaries, interviews, convention question and answer
"Yeah,
sessions, panels on YouTube. I wanted to do enough for the novice of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the people that aren't that familiar with some of the familiar stories, some not familiar, but like try and make it because it's about Gunner. It's really not
yeah,
about Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
yeah."
but it is the catalyst of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of unavoidable. So that's why we talk about the movie in the beginning, which kind of starts off with his journey, and then eventually later on in the documentary we get to the book Chainsaw Confidential. So it was one of those balances, and I think we did a pretty good job balancing it. Well, they did. I let them. I started cutting when I only had 25 interviews, and
Mm-hmm.
they basically saw what I did and went, "Yep, we're starting over," and which is fine. Um, uh, I didn't really. I supervised. I made my notes. I came into a little editing, but it was really the last third is when I came in and finessed the emotional stuff.
Right.
Because I felt I needed to do that because I was close with him.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I
How
think we did
long?
all right.
Yeah, I think you did. I certainly enjoyed it.
I'm
I
proud of
loved
it.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of the better. It's one of the better documentaries I've seen on like people that are within this world of horror and
Sure.
everything.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. And like, how long did you know Gunner? Because I know you worked with him and everything. And so, how long did you know him?
I met him. I don't remember exactly the year. Part of me wants to say, well, I do know exactly the year. I think it was. I do know exactly the year. I think
I
it was.
think.
It was. I think it was 1990.
Mm-hmm.
I had worked on a movie. The first movie I ever worked on. called, at the time it was called Them. It's now called Hellmaster, by Douglas Schultz. And I met the effects guys on that. And then shortly thereafter, I ended up working at this place called Gag Studios, which was a subsidiary company of Gags and Games. And Gags and Games was a strange store indeed. It was a novelty store, so you could go buy like trick gum and fake dog poo and fake vomit and whoopee cushions and things like that.
Yeah.
They also had an adult greeting card section. You could rent costumes from them. They had masks and makeup and horror-y stuff. They also, but when the games part came in, they sold a lot of role-playing game stuff. And I was an avid shopper at Gags and Games when I was 9 and 10 for the makeup and the masks.
Yeah, yeah.
And the horror, during Halloween, they had a big Halloween display. I believe, I'm pretty sure this is accurate. Gags and Games at one point started taking over empty storefronts around Halloween and filling it with just Halloween stuff, costumes and props and masks and makeup and all that stuff that for Halloween specifically. They would call it Halloween USA. I think that's where Spirit got their idea.
Took it from them, huh?
Because it ended up, it was a Michigan company, but it ended up becoming regional. It's like Halloween USA stores started expanding. I've yet to do the research on it, but I'm pretty sure that Spirit took their playbook from Gags and Games, which ended up becoming Gags and Gifts at one point, but because of the Spencer's Gifts thing. But yeah, so I worked on this horror movie as a PA, and I ended up doing some art stuff. But the assistant to the head makeup guy, my buddy Jeff Wehinkle, he was the guy. So Gags and Games started making their own horror props, cut off heads, shrunken heads, masks. We did the first officially licensed King Zombie mask for Dead World, the comic Dead World from back in the day. We did some prototypes for the Simpsons masks. We didn't end up getting the job, I don't think, but I remember making some of those masks, and we did a lot of cool stuff. And like we did skulls. I see skulls that we did in old like TV shows like Roseanne or Home Improvement. Those are props because we ended up subselling stuff to Spencer's Gifts, and they sold our stuff in their stores. I don't think Gags and Games exists anymore, but yeah. So I was always hanging out in the special effects room because that was the cool shit.
Yeah.
And Jeff was like, hey, if we ever need any help for Halloween, I'll bring you on if you're interested. And I was, of course, interested because I get to paint cool horror things for a living. Okay, I'm in. And we ended up renting a table. The first year Gag Studios was Gag Studios. We rented a table at a convention in Dearborn, Michigan. I don't know if it was specifically, I don't remember if it was specifically a Fangoria convention. It probably was, but I feel like there were like Star Trek folks there, and oh look, balloons. Who did that?
Balloons.
How did that happen?
How did you get balloons?
Who out there did the balloons thing?
I don't know how that happened, honestly.
Did I make a gesture?
I don't know. It's like you
I
did
know
something.
sometimes if you do gestures, like things pop up on certain. Anyway, that was weird though. Yeah, so we were working this convention this one weekend, and Tom Savini was there. His daughter Leah was like 4. I was kind of babysitting her while he was signing autographs. Angus Scrim was there reading
Oh, nice.
poetry,
Nice.
on stage. Like I didn't know the tall man was a poet. Come to find out, so was Gunnar Hansen, so was
Yep.
Leatherface.
Who would have
Uh,
thunk it?
and he had a lull in his line, and I walked out. I was like, Jeff, I'll be right back. I gotta get an autograph. And I went up to Gunnar and ended up talking to him for about 45 minutes, just a half hour, 45 minutes, about sound design of the infamous William Vale kill scene with the hammer and the sliding
Mm-hmm.
door, and all about the sound design and the music and the sound effects. And I was like, hey, I would love for you to be in my first movie. And he was interested, and he gave me his P.O. box, and I sent him a script. And yeah, it just became like a friendship. Like I didn't make a movie with him till we shot in 1995. So we were pals for like 5 years prior
That's cool.
to ever working with him. And he always like championed me and was concerned. Like he'd call me up on the phone just randomly, like, how are you? What's going on? Any money, any luck? And I call him like anytime we got money, I'd call him. And it didn't happen very often up until one point. But it was really cool that we became friends. We became
That's cool.
pals and comrades in this fight for art, like trying to raise money, because he had projects that he wanted to do, and he was just like me.
Yeah.
Well, he was just older and was Leatherface at one point. But everyone has money raised. Everyone has trouble raising money in this business. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So it was kind of a cool our courtship, our friendship courtship, because then he started doing Mosquito, and then I'd pick him up because that was a Detroit area film, and I'd pick him up from the airport. And the one time I picked him up from the airport, I had just put a vinyl album by the 3D Invisibles called Dinner with Leatherface. Well, the song was the album Jump Off the Screen, their debut album. I threw on a cassette tape just so I could play Dinner with Leatherface for Gunnar, picking him up from the airport, and he loved it. And
that's cool.
And then years later, obviously after he passed, the original title for this documentary was Untitled Gunnar Hansen Documentary Project, which is a lot of words and hard to say. And I was trying to figure out what to call it, and I had a little MP3 player. As a matter of fact, is it here? Where is it? All right, maybe I moved it. But I plugged it into my car stereo and hit random, and that was the first song that came out. And I went, "There's my title."
There you go. He was sending you a message. That's what he was doing.
He's done that a few times over the course of this entire venture, this entire project. Yeah, he's had our back.
Yeah, you never know. He's liable to have done the balloons because VH Massacre here said, I just looked it up. Making the balloon hand gesture is actually really complicated. One hand essentially does a peace sign. The second hand just points straight up, pointer finger. So there you go.
All right. Well, that's weird. I don't think I did. I was doing this a lot.
I know. So I was Gunnar messing with you is what that was.
I wouldn't doubt it. I've had strange experiences over the last 10 years in regards to this documentary, and all very positive. But yeah, who what the hell?
I don't know.
And that's weird because I was waving my hands around.
Yeah, you was like doing all this stuff.
Who posted that? Who let us know?
It was VH Massacre told me that. So
okay, thanks VHS Massacre.
Yes, it's my good friend. He is a independent filmmaker, much like yourself. He does documentaries.
Nice. So where does Tom live?
Where does he live?
Yeah.
I think in New York.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah. Um, I'm actually going to be in his new documentary that he's doing. So
What's the next documentary? What's VHS Massacre cooking up?
his next documentary is called Video Dreams, a VHS Massacre story.
Okay,
It's about his journey of filmmaking to where he's at, today.
awesome,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Um,
cool.
yeah, so I do. I mean, he does. He's if you've never seen him, I do recommend his VHS because his documentaries. The first two he did was VHS Massacre 1 and 2. I do recommend those. Those great
Okay,
documentaries. Then he just did one that was released through Vinegar Syndrome called American Expendables, the story of the I forgot the name of it, but it's like with the Cynthia Rothrock movies and stuff like that.
sorry, Tom. Your friend
Sorry,
Greg
Tom.
is
I can't
failing you.
remember. It's just like it slipped my head all of a sudden. It's like
It's all
the
right.
stories of.
That's all right. We'll just do this again,
Yeah, just do that again. No, see, now it's not
and
working.
it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
The North American, the films of the North American. It was right there. Yeah, the North American picks. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
I'll check them
With
out.
Billy Blanks and Cynthia Rothrock and all
Right
those.
on.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Just
um,
so you know, Tom, I also work for Anchor Bay Entertainment as an
yes.
director of acquisitions. So
There you go. Hey, that could help you out because I helped him out on his last documentary to get it released through ETR over on OCN Vinegar Syndrome Releasing.
nice,
So I gave him the lead on that, and there you
cool.
go. And that can bring us to the next thing. Like you work for Anchor Bay. This is the new Anchor Bay that they
Anchor,
put this out.
yeah,
So
Anchor Bay 2.0.
2.0. So
Thanks, Tom.
how'd this all come about? Yeah.
It's a funny story. It was it was it started out for me, and not in a bad or negative way, but kind of joking around.
Mm-hmm.
I Tom helped me out with some post-production work. Tom Zambak. Tom Zambak is one of the guys that reformed Anchor Bay
Yeah.
recently. Tom, very sweet guy, Michigan guy, used to work for the old Anchor Bay. I had some issues with missing negative from my first movie, which starred Gunner, Hatred of a Minute,
Mm-hmm.
and was released by Anchor Bay back in the day.
No, yeah, no.
Did I do that, or did
I get you. I'm telling you, Gunner's messing with you right now.
he
He knows
might
what
be?
you're doing. There you go.
Okay,
I don't
I'm just
have that.
I'm gonna keep my hands under my armpits so I don't like balloons. Nothing. Anyway, most ridiculous podcast ever. No, so I was missing negative, and the pandemic had just hit, and I had to wrestle my all the material that Anchor Bay had created prior to the selling of Stars / and Anchor Bay to Lionsgate. Things like they transferred, when Anchor Bay did all the post work, they transferred every frame of negative to
Yeah.
Digibeta. So I had missing negative. I didn't have, unless I ripped it from the old DVD, I didn't really have anything. But then I realized, oh wait, I contacted Bo, who used to work for Anchor Bay, and it was like, where did all of the footage go? Where did the vault go for
Mm-hmm.
Anchor Bay when Crest National, which was the company that did a lot of their post, they closed shortly before Anchor Bay was purchased. I said, where did Crest National's vault go? And he was like, oh, everything went to Iron Mountain in Burbank. And I was like, well, who inventoried all of that stuff? And Bo was like, actually, that was me. So Bo, out of the kindness of his heart, found a hard drive from like 2009 or something, fired it up, found his inventory list of everything that went into trucks and was driven over to Iron Mountain in Burbank to be stored. And when I found out I had missing negative, I reached out to him, and he helped me get all the stuff back, but there was no negative in there. And I was like, well, can we get in? There's like there a lost and found room, or a room where they're mismarked, and maybe we could like look at stuff. But the pandemic had hit, and people weren't letting strangers into buildings at all. So Tom worked at a post house in Culver City, and he helped me take a couple of the digibetas with the missing negative on it and upres it. And the technology had just gotten good enough to where the upres looks great.
Yeah.
So Tom saved my butt, and I didn't. We lost touch. He helped me out. We all moved on with our lives. And like 2.5, 3 years later, I get a text from my buddy Ken, who's an editor and a filmmaker, and he said, I have a friend who's working on a documentary that they're trying to like reissue and upres and get together for a release. And it was a documentary about the 90s underground punk rock scene from Detroit. And I was like, oh, I'll help him out. Detroit in the house. And so I just said, because Ken, it was on an old Final Cut 7 document. And Ken's like, I have Final Cut 7, but I'm back in Michigan right now. I won't be home for a couple weeks. Can you help them out? So I was like, yeah, give him my information. And I get a text, and it's from Tom, who I hadn't talked to in 2.5, 3 years. And he said, can you help me out with this? How much would it cost? And I was like, you need XML files pulled. It's not going to cost anything. It doesn't take long. Just send it to me and we'll work it out. Yeah. So he sent the project to me. I pulled his XML files, sent him back. He's like, what can I do for you? And I was like, well, I'm curious what you're doing now that you're not working for the post house anymore. And he said, well, I'm forming a distribution company. And I was like, all right, I know what you can do for me. You can take me to lunch. We can talk about it over lunch. Because I have some things you might want to distribute. And we sat down and had lunch. I said, I've got this Gunnar Hansen documentary. He goes, I want it. I go, I have this 50s sci-fi spoof called Mutant Swinger from Mars, and it's actually the original acting debut of Jack White of the White Stripes. He's like, that I want as well. So then I started bringing him other people's movies, people that I knew who had recently made movies. I called a couple of people that I knew made movies back in the day, and I just started bringing them movies, and they liked a lot of the stuff I was bringing them. And I am too. I always have flashbacks, Tom, when I think of Final Cut 7.
Yeah. Not to stop you, but just so you know, Debbie Rochon is also in his documentaries.
So. Oh, right on! I love Debbie. Yeah. Debbie's great. Debbie was a big champion of this documentary. She wrote a couple of articles. I know she wrote one article about it. She might have tried to get it published in other places, but I know Videoscope magazine released her article about Dinner with Leatherface.
Yeah.
I think it's in issue 125, but I have to go back and look because I'm trying to get a copy of it myself. I gotta go online and purchase it. But anyway, so yeah, I just started bringing Tom movies, and I joked one day. I was like, when do I get my business cards that say Director of Acquisitions? And he goes, do you want a business card? And I was like, no. Because I'm a filmmaker. I'm like, I make movies. I don't distribute them. And then it just kept happening. And Brian and Tom, the two partners, to their credit, they were like, would you want, seriously though, would you want to be Director of Acquisitions? And I was like, if I can still make movies, sure. Why not? Let's do it. So I've been helping out ever since. And cool. Hopefully I've been helping out ever since. I know there's a handful of movies that we're going to release that I brought to the table, and we're currently working on. I don't know if I could talk about it, actually. Hold on. Let me text.
Well, while you're doing that, though, I'm happy to see Anchor Bay back in any type of form, and I'm glad that one of them that they released so far is Dinner with Leatherface, because if there's anything I know from Anchor Bay is if you don't buy the Anchor Bay Blu-rays when they're available, people will scalp the shit out of them and they jack up the price, and it's just
Yes,
like
they will.
some of like the old ones from the old back. I don't know if you guys have that back catalog anymore. I don't think you guys have
We
all.
don't.
Yeah, don't. But like those old ones, man, they're it's crazy prices people are getting it for because they're so hard to find. But
Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have the
mhm,
old catalog anymore, and at the same time fortunate because we're trying to build a brand new catalog
yes,
for future cult films and future filmmakers who fall in that. We're looking for the cool, weird stuff of today. We
yes,
released Evil Dead, or they released Evil Dead a lot.
hmm,
We don't need another Evil Dead from Anchor Bay anymore.
that's
We're trying to find the newer the stuff that we're forming another a sub uh, label that you will find out about very soon. We're gonna do a press release about it. That uh, caters to movies that have never been seen,
oh nice.
or if they were released, uh, they weren't. They died on the vine. They
Yeah, they
didn't
weren't.
proper release. So,
Uh,
director of acquisitions of Anchor Bay. I'd get that tattooed on me. Well, I'm gonna use this ink pen and I'll draw it on my arm, but I don't like needles. So,
but no, no,
strangely
that's
enough, I
yeah.
look like a guy who would have plenty of tattoos, and I have zero.
Me, I don't have any either. So, but like my brothers and everybody has tattoos. So,
Sorry, I'm trying to do the balloon thing again. If it happens now, I'll get a balloon tattoo. No,
nothing, nothing.
nothing.
No, but that's cool that you got your documentary released and you get to help them find really cool films, and I like that too because yes, as cool as it would be for have Anchor Bay to have the old back catalog and release some of these things that those assholes are hoarding from people, uh, I like that fact that you're trying to put out newer stuff or stuff that cult
Yeah,
stuff like that that hasn't been seen or hasn't been released so many times because we always talk about we want new stuff, we want different stuff, so build up Anchor Bay the way it is now, the new way. So,
yeah, it's exciting because I think we're at this time. Not only are we, because we like to say we don't release movies, we curate them
hmm,
because anyone can take 15, 20 movies, package them together, throw them on Tubi, and pray one of them makes money.
hmm,
We want to do the exact opposite. We want to, sure, we'll take a package of movies, but we want to individually make sure that they're getting the eyes on them, and we do limited theatrical, we do physical, we do streaming, but we really want to see these movies shine and the filmmakers shine and have longevity. Any distribution company can bundle a bunch of movies, spit them out, throw them up on Tubi or Roku or wherever,
yeah,
and pray for the best. But that's not our
yeah,
bag. We want to we want to curate these movies. We want them to see the light of day and become the future cult classics they potentially could be.
yeah,
You can't really make a cult classic, but you sure as hell can give it the love that cult classics get,
hmm,
and make sure that these movies are shown or screened or whatever.
right.
So that's our goal. And so far I think we're doing a good job, you know.
I mean, I've from what I've seen, I know you guys released Crust
Yep.
from what's his name? I can't think of his name right
Sean
now.
Whalen, yeah.
It's
Crust
Sean
was actually Crust was, I think, the first genre movie.
mm-hmm,
I saw the trailer on Facebook. I went, "Oh, I met Sean Whalen 1,000 years ago. We have a mutual friend." And I called my mutual friend Eric Edwards, and I was like, "Do you know? Have you talked to Sean Whalen? I saw he just made a movie. Do you know if he has distribution?" And he was like, "Leave me alone. I'm having breakfast." So he didn't know. So I just reached out to Sean on Facebook, and I met him, once or twice years ago, but I'm like, he won't remember me, but if he does, even better. But I reached out and I said, hey, I work for Anchor Bay. Can I show them the trailer? They might be interested. And he was like, Anchor Bay still exists? And I was like, well, no, not the old Anchor Bay, but this is a 2.0.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. So we ended up releasing the movie, and we did Abruptio. Which, have you seen Abruptio yet?
I have not.
Do you know what it's about?
No, I don't. I don't think I've heard the title yet.
It's over there. It's how do I explain it? I believe it's Sid Haig's last movie.
Oh.
Robert Englund's in it. Jordan Peele's in it. Hannah Mae Lee is in it from the movie with all the singing girls. What are those called? Pitch Perfect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple other names that I'm forgetting, but James Marsden. James Marsden, right? He played Spike in Buffy, correct?
James
it's the guy who played
Marsters, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I know you're talking about, because I know there's the guy that played Cyclops in the Sonic movies.
It's not him.
His name's James Marsden something too. Yeah. So I know who you're talking about though.
So it's these filmmakers, this husband and wife team made. It's all human-sized, realistic-ish human puppets, and it's a guy wakes up. He has a dull job. He lives with his parents who bitch at him every time he comes home. He's way too old to be living at home, and he wakes up one day, gets a text, and it says, "You have a bomb in the back of your neck, and if you don't do what we say, we will detonate the bomb." And it's this really trippy. James Marsters, thank you, VHS Master.
I thought, I was thinking that, yeah.
Thank you, sir. It's a really trippy movie because these puppets are creepy as hell. So all of these celebrity actors did voiceover for it, and then they slowly made the movie, and that we released that, and it's stuff like that we want to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
And what's another one? Kirsten Baja by Jeffrey Daniel Phillips, who played Herman Munster in the Rob Zombie Munsters. It's funny, also starring Danny Roebuck, who played Grandpa Munster. I feel like Danny Roebuck is in every other movie we release, which is hilarious to me because he's such a great guy, and he's in a lot of stuff. He acts in a lot of independent films because he loves. He's a monster kid. Yeah, he's a monster kid from way back, and he likes doing horror films when he's not making, uplifting family fare. When he's not directing stuff that
I loved him in Matlock.
Who didn't?
Right.
Who didn't? I was kind of mad. And I'll say this live on YouTube. I was kind of mad that when they brought Matlock back, he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They probably asked him. I don't know if they did or not. But yeah, I was bummed. I was like, I call him D-Row. Where's D-Row?
Where's D-Row? No, he's great. I've seen him in a million things. I've always liked his work. He's great.
He's in. I can't think of a franchise he hasn't been involved with, aside from the Muppets.
No, he has never been in the Muppets, has he?
He hasn't yet.
That's a good thing. Yet, yes.
He's done the Star Wars thing now with Grease. The multi-armed alien from the Jedi Fallen Order and is it Jedi Survivor, the second game that came out recently.
Oh yeah.
So he's done the Star Wars thing. He's done the Star Trek thing. He's done. I'm trying, all of Rob Zombie's,
he's in all those. Yeah.
The
Three from Hell. 1,000 Corpse.
What's the name of the family? I can't think of the name of the family. Tom VHS Massacre would know.
What is the name of that family? It's not. I would.
It's
Is it the Firefly family?
thank you. Yes, it
There you go.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's been in all of those. He appears in he's in 2 fugitive movies. He appears in a lot of stuff. He's
Yeah.
everywhere. And I will say he might appear in another franchise that Anchor Bay might or might not be involved with, but I can't say right now.
A franchise.
A
Ah.
franchise slash re-envisioning slash I want to say reboot, but it's a movie franchise that is very beloved in the
Hmm.
weirdest way.
Well, you'll have to tell me after we close.
I will, but you have to promise you
Oh,
can't say
who am I
anything.
going to tell?
Oh, I don't know. You only have a friggin' podcast.
I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm
Guess what
not.
Kallio just told me.
No,
No,
I'm not
but
like
yeah,
that.
and I think it's going to be announced very soon.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
I have to keep it on the down low for now. I'm waiting. Actually, I'm waiting for Tom to text me back. Probably hanging with his family on a Friday
what
night.
what can I say? What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. And I text Danny earlier about it, and he texted me when we first started. But let me see if I can read it. It's cryptic enough.
We'll just spoil a bunch of stuff live right now.
See,
We're gonna give you all the deets on the brand new Anchor Bay 2.0. We're going to spill all the
yes,
beans.
I can't spell any beans yet. I can only say certain things.
We get people clipping this and going and putting it on your YouTube channel. Michael Kallio just spilled this on Anchor Bay. This is coming in the next
What
5 years.
what we should do when we can say stuff, which will be soon, is get me and Tom on, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll spill the beans.
Yeah,
We'll give the big reveal, the
I'll
big
do that.
reveals.
That'd be nice. Talk
Yeah,
new Anchor Bay stuff. That'd be cool.
but yeah. So Tom was like, do you really want it? And Tom and Brian were like, you want to, huh? And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, why not? So I've been helping as much as I can. I'm not the savviest guy when it comes to certain things of distribution because I'm still learning. I
Mm-hmm.
learned stuff when I released my first movie back in the day through Anchor Bay, but I didn't know everything. And the climate of this business has changed so drastically. It's like we're just doing our best to evaluate what's happening and manipulate through this weird time, and
Yeah.
hopefully it'll right itself, because I know a lot of people who are out of work and hurting, and
Yeah.
it's a shame because I think we need entertainment.
Oh yeah.
TikTok is not entertainment. It's a great
No.
marketing tool. Physical media, baby.
Physical media and documentaries, movies and horror movies and slasher movies and comedies and actions, genre films. I give me 106 minute documentary over a little 2 minute TikTok video any day of the week. I
Exactly.
cannot stand TikTok at all.
Well, I will say I was with you, but I see how it works to help market now. And
I,
it's a necessary evil,
mm-hmm.
um, because this is where we are in the world and technology and the interwebs and that.
Sad
But
but true.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, I more power to them. If influencers can make money and get free shit for making dumb little videos, and I follow some of them, I watch some of them. Matter of fact, I'm hooked on Call Me Chris and her friend. I can never remember her friend's name. They're both Canadian. I'm sort of hooked on Balin Dupree, who has her own show now
Mm-hmm.
called Balin Out Loud. She's like a 22-year-old girl with Tourette's. Like
Oh
bad
yeah, I know
Tourette's.
her. I know her.
She's fantastic. I want to meet her just so I can like high
Get the
five her
baby
and say,
Weyness.
"Yep."
Yeah, I know her.
I just want to high five her and be like, "You rock." I'm sorry you're suffering with this horrible malady, but at the same time, you found your place as far
Mm-hmm.
as you're making the best of it.
Yeah.
and that's cool to me. Like, I hope she gets all of the perks forever, and hopefully they find a cure for it, and then she can just be like, all right, I'm cool now.
Yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
I'll do something else.
uh,
But
uh,
I got hooked on her, and then they're like, they're giving her a show, and I'm like, I'm tuning in. I can't wait for the second season.
I also heard you hooked on some channel called FanZcene.
Yeah, yeah,
I hope he gets a lot of free stuff.
absolutely.
I wouldn't call myself an influencer.
Well, I mean, but you're in that zone.
Mm.
Do you get free stuff? Do
No,
people send you stuff? Why not?
I mean I've gotten some free stuff from Full Moon Features because I do have a relationship with them. I do because I love Full Moon Features. I grew up on them. I love them, so I do have a relationship with them. I have audience members that do send me stuff, which is cool. Which I don't ask them to, but I love that we've connected in that way. Where like, hey man, I'll send you this. I'm like, I love that. Honestly, I love
Maybe I can convince my bosses to let me send you when you can review stuff.
yeah, there you go. I did do a review on this, by the way, which I bought with my own money. It was not free. I bought it with my own money.
Thanks for putting 12 cents in my pocket. Um, no, maybe we could work something out where you can be our one of our Anchor Bay. Yeah, come on, man, go. Now it's not doing it anymore.
No, it's not.
We broke it. They're like, you only get 5 balloon
And that's it.
videos.
I I take it, but I'm not like asking for anything because
I know you're not.
there
Oh,
you go. It's the other hands. They do it the other way.
okay. People are like, all right, I have anything better to do. Click.
They're gone. They tuned out an hour ago.
Yeah, and we've only been doing this for 10
What
minutes.
is it? Yeah.
No, but yeah. So what else? Gosh,
I know I will tell you one of my favorite stories from the documentary that I heard about Gunner, and that just made me laugh. I don't know why. I've said it in my review. I said it on my show because I do a live show called the Physical Media Show where we talk about what we watched that week on physical media. But there's one part where they're like they needed Gunner to stay longer than the 12 hours he signed on for, and he liked the pants. He thought they were comfortable, so they gave him the pants, and he stayed on and did it.
the funny thing is too, as I started making this documentary, and I shot Hatred of a Minute in 1995,
Mm-hmm.
but so getting clips from other movies, because I didn't see Replicator, and I didn't even know about Replicator until I started working on this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And in Replicator, he's got the white lab coat and a really wacky, colorful shirt, and I was like, that's the shirt he wore in Hatred of a Minute in one small scene. And I think, if I remember correctly, my wardrobe person, Scarlett Jade, who I don't know if she's even with us anymore. If she is, and she's out there somewhere, love you, Scarlett. But I haven't heard from Scarlett for 1,000 years. But she was this little wacky. She reminded me of a witch meets Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like this little skinny, fun, pot smoking, crazy lady who loved collecting weird things and clothes. And she's like, I got, hey, she would just giggle. She's like, I got this shirt. Because she was usually stoned. So I got this shirt for Gunner. Do you like it? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? But I think if I'm not mistaken. And then in other movies, like other clips of movies, I'm like, there's that fucking shirt again. and I remember Gunner at one point asking for the pants that that's where he got his half his clothes, I think, from
just from all that
low budget movies, man. And why not?
Yeah.
I took a cue from him. I acted when I wasn't doing Hi, Hallowfield. I'm going blind. Is it Hallowfield or Hollowfield?
Hallowfield, yes. We
Hi,
just got
Hallowfield.
Hallowfield and Uncle Remus too. So
Hi,
zippity
Uncle
doo dah.
Remus. Zippity A. Uh, so yeah, I took a cue from Gunnar when I worked on My Name Is Bruce back in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you're gonna be in it. I actually ended up playing a couple of characters, but I played the. If you've seen My Name Is Bruce, I play the crappy director of Cave Alien 2, and Bruce is like, what would a crappy B movie director wear? I'm like, well, the same shit I wear because that's what I do. But he's like, well, be specific. I'm like, black suit coat, black t-shirt, black jeans, Converse high top all stars, Chuck Taylor all stars, black canvas all stars. He goes, great, that's where we're gonna get you. So he bought me all stars, and I said, you're gonna buy me Converse all stars. I'm keeping them. He's like, that's fine. You can keep them. I'm like, cool. Because here in Los Angeles, back in 2006, especially, they were like $80.
Yeah.
And in Oregon, where we shot My Name Is Bruce, they were like 24. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
saving money because I'm thrifty that way. And I get to keep the shoes too. And actually, they're right over there next to my next to the Abruptio video.
Nice.
Across the room.
So like, no wonder you and Gunnar were friends. So,
Right.
there you
Right.
go.
Well,
That's a
hey
true
man,
story.
anything you can get off a movie set that you need, you might as well. I mean, a movie and this franchise that we're going to be involved with.
Mm-hmm.
I told the producer, the current producer that's we're going to help produce, I believe. But I told the producer that I was going to visit often and around noon because I want free lunch, man.
Yeah.
I'm not dumb. When I first made Hatred of a Minute and I had finished shooting, I came out to California to do post production and ended up living with Bruce Campbell and his lovely wife Ida. And they were shooting the Love Bug for Disney,
Oh yeah.
the made for TV Love Bug movie with Bruce and Alexandra Wentworth and Kevin J. O'Connor and Clarence Williams III and Dean Jones, old school Dean Jones.
Yeah.
And Bruce is like, "Do you want to visit set? We're going to be in Altadena." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll drive out." At what time? He goes, "You should show up around noon." I'm like, "Noon?" And he goes, "Yeah, we could get you free lunch, get to meet some people." I'm like, "I'm there." I got to meet Peyton Reed,
Nice.
who I'm sure doesn't remember me from Adam, but he's gone on to do a couple of small movies like from Marvel.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know, right? VHS
Yes,
Master
it
said
was Herbie
Herbie.
the Love
Yeah,
Bug.
it's Herbie, the
Yes.
Love Bug. I believe it came out. It was 95 when they shot it. End of 95. Yes, the Bruce Campbell TV movie.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 97. It finally came out in 97.
And I don't think that's ever got a release anywhere else. I mean, it really needs a release.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm also working on trying to get My Name Is Bruce back out there because I know
Yes.
it's been out of print for a minute.
Yes.
And I did all of the behind the scenes stuff for it. And I remember watching Chris Gore on Attack of the Show reviewing My Name Is Bruce, and he liked the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but he was like, I like the documentary better. Heart of Darkness, the making of My Name Is Bruce, was better than the movie. And I was like, yeah, because Bruce and I made fun of that in my making of documentary at the end credits, because he interviewed me when it was all said and done. He's like, you got to be in this too. I'm going to interview you. And one of his questions is, what happens? What do you think is going to happen if your documentary is better than the movie? And I was like, well, it's going to be, because all my stuff is real. Everything you did was scripted. So.
I mean, I love My Name Is Bruce, but the doc was great.
Thank you, Hallowfield.
Yes.
You have excellent taste.
Yes. That's cool.
The
I'm
doc was great. I was very
Yes.
happy, proud of that doc too.
Yes.
That was fun to make. That was 63 hours of footage over 2 months, and we cut it down to an hour. That was rough. That
Dang.
was rough because there was a
That's
lot of
crazy.
stuff. There was a lot of stuff there, and I still one of the reasons I want to get My Name Is Bruce re-released is there's probably about another hour of stuff just from behind the scenes that I'd love to put together. Not only just to show how much fun it was, because it was like I call it the best what I did on my summer vacation job ever.
Yeah.
But tributes to Danny Hicks and Tim Quill, who were in Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness,
Mhm.
respectively, and have since passed. Um, to do a little bit more with them would be amazing. I started a Danny Hicks documentary, and hopefully I can get back to it sometime sooner than later, because I
Yeah.
started working on it shortly after he passed, but we were still going through, you know, what's it called, a pandemic, and life happened, and it kind of fell by the wayside. But I may have to kick that back into maybe it'll be about Danny and Tim Quill. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, that'd be interesting. I'd say, like, as a horror fan, this stuff interests me. Like,
Sure.
I know it's not for everybody out there, but like as somebody who's into genre film and horror film stuff, like this stuff interests me. Like I told you with Gunner, I love the humanization of him because I think you guys even bring it up in the documentary. Like people get it in their head, like that's Leatherface.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's like. I wonder if he's mean, and like
Yeah.
he's not. He's not Leatherface. He's
No.
Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah.
I love
Movies
that.
and reality are completely different.
Exactly. So I love learning about that. It's the other way around. There you go.
Nothing's happening anymore. I broke it again.
It's
All
fun
right.
because like I've been to horror conventions. I just went to a horror convention and I didn't really talk to celebrities there because I didn't have the money and there wasn't nobody really there I wanted to see. But it's something interesting when you get to meet the people like that you're curious about. So
Well, and that goes down the board, not just with horror conventions. I went to a not horror convention. I went to a comic convention 10 years ago, maybe,
mhm.
and got to got to meet John Paragon, who is Zombie in, for those of you who don't know, Zombie in Pee Wee's Playhouse,
Yeah.
and Miss Yvonne, Lynn Stewart, and ended up befriending Lynn Stewart, which was really cool. And they're no longer with us anymore. And I was broke too, man. I went up to him and was like, I don't have any money. I just wanted to say hi. And they're like, well, we'll take a selfie with you. And I was like, really? Because I'm seriously, I have no cash. I'm a broke idiot filmmaker.
Yeah.
That would be lovely. And they were very kind enough to let me take a selfie with them. And so you never know, man. And
Yeah.
meeting, like when I went up to Gunner, I was a little nervous because I didn't know who this guy is, and he scared the crap out of me.
Mhm.
You know, he was a big dude,
Yeah.
and he was just so kind and sweet. And the matter of fact, did you go through all the end credits on the
I was
doc?
I was watching them, but I wasn't like really reading them all.
No. At the very, very
Oh, the
end,
very, very end? No.
the picture of me and Gunner together.
Yeah, yeah, with
When
you
I'm a
too. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
when I'm a
that.
skinny nerdy kid but who
Yeah,
couldn't grow facial hair to save his life.
I
That
remember
was
the thank you. I read the thank you that
yeah.
you gave. Yeah.
That was that day,
Oh,
and that
that's
was
cool.
like, oh, he's let me. Nowadays, it's like $20 a picture. You want to take
Yeah.
a picture of me? It's $40.
It's,
Back then, it was like, I want an autograph. Oh, pick out a picture. $20 for the picture. Here's a free autograph.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. But
That's yeah.
I was a little intimidated meeting him for the first time. But then, he's so disarming as far as he's not that guy. And I've seen
Hmm.
Gunnar Krabby. I mean, known him long enough to where he, got too hungry and needed food, and he was just, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's everybody,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know.
people get that way.
He was
No.
he was an exceptional human though, because he was so Gunner.
Mm-hmm.
He had amazing stories. He was funny. He was whimsical. He was, someone. I think it was Jim Corlock, who was the effects guy on Hatred of a Minute. He said Gunner had a little gleam in his eye. He was mischievous sometimes,
Yeah.
and as I call him, cheeky and sassy and flirty and fun and just a sweet man to be around and to know. I've been very lucky, not only of knowing someone like Gunner, who's a horror icon,
Yeah.
but same thing with Bruce Campbell. Someone had brought this up to me not that long ago. They're like, you realize you have two horror icons that worked with you on your first movie. Not a lot of people can say that, and
Yeah.
I realize that. Like, I've been very lucky with not only knowing Gunner but knowing Bruce, and having them have my back and championing my ridiculous career choice, which they both had too. I mean, for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
If Gunner never acted again, I don't think he would have cared.
Yeah, that's like what I got when he was like when he said, "Yeah, I did Leatherface, and then I moved to Maine and wrote poetry." They're
Yeah,
like, and he turned down Wes Craven and
yeah,
all that. So it's like he was very happy. So I mean,
he was, and I think if he continued to write, he would have been just fine.
mm-hmm.
Would have been just fine. And it's a shame that because we were writing something as well, and I'd love to continue. I'd love to get it to a point where it can be made, but who knows anymore.
Yeah. But you are the Anchor Bay acquisition guy, so
Yeah, can get anything done.
there you go.
I wish.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, like I've had better luck doing this with like people like you than I would talking to somebody at a horror convention because the lines are so long and like you said, it's so different now.
Yeah,
It's like $60, $70, and then for the bigger guys, it's like they're in a room all in the back with like, and it's like 100. And it's like I can't. I mean, I would me. I stick around to be honest. I stick around the physical medium thing. Like I was hitting up Trauma, I was hitting up Full Moon, I was hitting up Vinegar Syndrome, I was hitting up Synapse,
sure.
I was hitting up Terror Vision. That was like my celebrities there. Plus the last one I went to, like the biggest guy they had there was the Fonz, which
Henry Winkler.
would have been great to meet Henry Winkler, but his line was out the door, and I'm not waiting there. So
This is what you need to do, Greg. You need to go. You need to start getting press passes to these conventions,
yeah,
because then you can bypass the line.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and take a little video camera with your phone and shoot some little segments. You might as well.
yeah,
You do have a presence on the internet.
yeah. It
So
may not be large, but it's there. So
exactly. It's funny you mentioned Synapse. Did you ever meet Don May?
no, I did not.
Well, who was repping Synapse at
It
this
was
convention?
just like there. I was at Horror Hound in Cincinnati this past it was a month ago. It was a woman and a man, and I talked to the woman. I don't remember her name, but I was talking to her. We were talking about the new Red Pictures, which worked for you on this. They're
Red
putting out
shirt, yeah.
yeah, they're putting out Fright Night 2, Prom Night 2, and all them. So we was talking about that. We talked about Trick or Treat, and then I bought Prom Night 1, and then I come to find out they're putting out Prom Night 1 on 4K. So I was like,
Well, that's how they get you, man.
yeah, no, but I can't remember the woman's name, but I was talking to the woman who was there, and then how we were just talking about that. So
Oh, interesting. I love Don. I love
mm-hmm.
Synapse. As a matter of fact, Synapse will be releasing Hatred of a Minute.
No, nice.
I made a deal with them before the new Anchor Bay,
For the
so
new gray. So yeah,
I have to fulfill my promises. Although if I said Don, I'm releasing Hatred through Anchor Bay, Don asked for it originally, and Bruce is like, we're going to sell it to Anchor Bay because they're going to give us money. So, and they did. So, which That doesn't happen much anymore. Getting an advance or an MG, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanna honor what Don and I originally talked about doing, which is releasing Hatred of a Minute on Blu-ray, which will
There
happen soon. I just have to finish. I have to get my crap together, which
you get it all together.
just juggling all of these
You
other
got a
things.
lot of things in the oven here, man. It's like yeah, just talking to you, you got so much going on.
I know it's kind of ridiculous. I'm trying to get rid of certain things on my to-do list that have been on there forever. Trying to clean the slate as much as possible.
And then, like, are you still like going to the premieres of the documentary and stuff that you guys are doing?
I have been in California. It's playing at two MJR theaters in Michigan this weekend. Tonight,
Mhm.
actually, it's probably playing right now. It is playing right now because it's after 8. So it's playing in Southgate,
Mhm.
Michigan, and Sterling Heights, Michigan, at the MJR Theater. It's just one show, one Friday, one Saturday. I was supposed to go home, but money's been tight just because the business has been dead,
Mhm.
and so I unfortunately couldn't have made it back, which would have been nice because that's mom still lives in the Detroit area. But those screenings are happening tonight and tomorrow, or screening one tonight, one tomorrow. It's playing in Chicago. I gotta look this crap up. It's playing in Chicago at the Music Box, which is very exciting. Um, stand by, I'll let you know.
Stand by.
Uh, but we're playing Chicago. We're playing LA in June at
Mhm.
Shaka Go Go. We were invited to Shaka Go Go Film
Nice.
Fest
Nice.
that happens in Beverly Hills. So when I can, I'll be there. To do Q and A or whatever. But I just unfortunately couldn't get to Michigan this weekend.
It
But
happens.
it does happen, and this is going to take forever. But so I'll find out. You can post it later, and I'll of course post
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
we're still doing theatrical screenings, and I want to try and get my mug in front of as many people as possible. As far as like, there's not a lot of money for travel, unfortunately.
Right.
But
Right.
I I I could do virtual Q&A if need be. I'm hoping to do more of the in person stuff. Um, but yeah, so I'm just keeping on. Got another documentary coming out that I'm helping produce through Anchor Bay. It's called Howard the Doc.
Yeah, from about Howard the Duck,
Howard the
the
Duck,
movie.
about the movie, about the fan base of the movie. There's some other obvious Howard the Duck,
Yeah.
the comic, the fan base in general, but it revolves around the movie, and
Yeah.
that's going to come out, I believe, this year.
I'll be
You
probably buying that.
Well, and it's very exciting. We're going to be doing some special. Are you a slipcover guy?
I do like a good slipcover.
There's an artist that works for both DC and Marvel. It's one of the top of the line
Nice.
cover artists. He's friends. I can't remember his name though. I suck, but he's friends with Tom and Brian, who reformed Anchor Bay, and he's agreed to do some really cool exclusive slipcover art for us at some point. I think Howard the Doc is going to be the first one we do it on.
Nice.
And then we're releasing a couple other documentaries, one about King Kong.
The
And
original or the
yeah, the OG,
nice.
the
Okay.
OG, called Hail to the King. And then a documentary about um, Bob and Kathy Burns called Beast Wishes. Those two documentaries are for catalog, so they're
Nice.
older, but we're doing a nice Blu-ray re-release on first time on Blu-ray.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there's another documentary about a band from California called Haunted Garage.
I
Uh,
know them.
You do know them.
I know I've had the what's his name on the show,
Kevin.
Kevin. Kevin. I've had Kevin on the channel, so I know Kevin, and I know
We're
Dewey. Not Dewey. What is that's the name?
Dookie.
Dookie.
Dookie
Dookie
Fleshwater.
Flashwater. Sorry, I
Did
don't
you
know. I mean, I don't know him, but I know of him.
did you notice him in the doc?
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
saw him. I said, hey, that's Dookie when I
Yeah,
saw
it's
him.
funny too because at one point I was like when I interviewed Fred Olin Ray, I
Mm-hmm.
interviewed Fred Olin Ray for 3 different documentaries at the same time.
At the same time.
And there was a couple of people like that, and Dookie was one of them. It was like, well, we're interviewing you for this and this and this. But yeah, small world,
Yeah.
small world.
And it's also funny too because like I have a friend. His name, I don't know if you know him. His name is Gary Cassell. He's an artist. He is friends with Bruce Campbell, and Bruce Campbell has told him he's the only one that's ever captured his chin right in his because he did the artwork for the Synapse Out of
Yes,
Time.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Running time.
Running Time. Yeah, sorry, which I also have. Running Time. That's a
You
good
should get
movie.
you should get Josh Becker on your show.
He's friends with Josh Becker. So
Yeah.
Gary said, I think Gary's had him on his channel. Gary has his own YouTube channel called Pop Culture Minefield. So
Did Gary was Gary the guy that did the sketch? There's a story that, if I can remember correctly, Bruce for one of Bruce's books. I believe it was the first book, If Chins Could Kill.
he might be.
Like someone did a sketch of Bruce, and Bruce was like, "This is great. Can I put it in the book?" And the person said yes. Over with the abruptio. The book, my copy of My Name Is Bruce is over with, or not My Name Is Bruce. If Chins Could Kill is over with abruptio in
Yeah.
my crossroom. Too lazy
It's
to get up and get it.
it's liable to be him because I'm good friends with Gary as well. We talk all the time, but he did say that Bruce told him that he's the only one that could ever draw his chin right, so he likes his artwork.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Then
so
it's probably
it's
the same
liable to
guy.
him. It's liable to be him. And we did like Tom here wants to know, Michael, what's your favorite narrative film that you've directed?
I mean, they're all. Me too, Uncle Remus. I want King Kong to come out on 4K as
Yeah.
well. We'll have to yell at Universal.
Yep.
I'm surprised it hasn't actually. My favorite narrative film that I directed. Well, it hasn't come out yet.
Oh, it hasn't come out yet.
I made a Christmas movie. I shot a few years ago, and I'm currently finishing it up now. So it'll be out this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But during them, and I don't say this about my own stuff. I'm usually pretty self-deprecating. But as we were shooting, it's called An LA Christmas Story. As we were shooting, I realized we were making something special. And I said it often. I said, I really feel we're making something special. And now that we're in a cut of the movie that's getting closer and closer to being finished, I think we did. I think this might, if it's marketed right and we get it in the right hands and eyes, Anchor Bay is interested in releasing it. I think we have a winner. I think we have a hit.
Nice.
It's not a Hallmark movie. It's not a Lifetime Christmas movie. It's not a Hallmark Christmas movie. It's out of my own brain. It's outside of the box. It's got some Better Off Dead elements to it. So it's quirky. It got fantastical elements. There's a stop motion elf through the whole movie, like peppered through the movie. It's my love. I have a trilogy, like Carpenter has his trilogy, his Apocalypse trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a trilogy that I'm working on. This is the first movie, and I'm working on the second one. This first one is called An LA Christmas Story, and it's one of my love. I love the movie LA Story, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to call this Christmas movie, and I looked up. I was like, I love LA Story. I looked up an LA Christmas Story on IMDb, and no one had ever used it. So I was like, done.
That's it.
You know, I'm a huge fan of Steve Martin, so it's got that kind of quirk in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gearing up to doing the second LA movie is a vampire rom-com. It'll be the bloodiest rom-com you'll ever see.
I like that.
But if I had to pick an old movie that I've directed, and I'm looking at you, Tom, VHS Massacre. Because you asked the original question. Did he ask the original question?
Yes, the original. Yes.
Mutant Swinger from Mars, which is my 50 sci-fi spoof. It's on Tubi. Coming out on Blu-ray soon via never been released. Physical media, never been released.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming out this year sometime. And it's just a dumb 50 sci-fi spoof. If you smoke weed, smoke some weed, watch it. It's funny. If you don't smoke weed and you drink, have a couple of drinks, watch it. It's funny. If you don't do any of that stuff, watch it anyway. It's funny.
It's funny.
It's dumb funny. It's silly, stupid, dumb funny. But I'm really proud of that one. Yeah, watch list that shit. Because we're pulling it off. We're pulling it off Tubi, so Anchor Bay can re-put it back on Tubi.
But released it on Blu-ray and everything.
Yes, but actually, it's funny. Was it 3 weeks ago? I was looking at my Anchor Bay email box, and I saw Mutant Swinger from Mars DCP, and I was like, "What the shit?" And someone requested a DCP of it. They screened it somewhere in Ohio at some art house theater. I want to know how it did. I don't think we found out yet, but someone reached out. They wanted to.
In Ohio, do you know where at in Ohio?
No, Iowa. Did I say
Iowa.
Ohio?
You said Ohio, yeah, Iowa. Okay.
But hey, if you have a theater in Ohio, you want Mutant Swinger from Mars to screen, we can make it happen, baby.
That's fun.
I've got connections.
Yes, you do.
To the company that reps that movie now.
Look at you. I got connections.
Yeah. I'm important. Yeah, that's not true. But yeah. So
yeah.
What else? What else can I? What else can
I mean, we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes, so we can close it down if you're ready.
You're like, I'm done.
No. I mean, I could talk to you. I love talking to you. You're fun. I've always said you're always welcome to come back on here and talk. Whatever you want to talk.
Let's do it. I want to look at what other people said real quick. You can't watch it now, VHS Massacre. You have to wait until this brilliance is over. Then you can watch it. And actually, it's funny. There's 2 versions of Mutant Swinger from Mars.
Oh, really?
There's a 86-minute version that's there's a mockumentary in the beginning of it, and then the long lost. The mockumentary is about the filmmakers. It's a little bit of Spinal Tap, a little bit of Waiting for Guffman, but then the rest of the movie, the other 76 minutes, is this long lost 50s sci-fi movie. Then, prior to Tim Quill, who played the blacksmith in Army of Darkness and grew up with Sam Raimi and Bruce and all those guys, went to high school with them. There was a horror host in Michigan named Sir Graves Ghastly.
Yep.
And
Ghastly. Yes, Sir Graves Ghastly. Yeah.
Yeah, and right. Sir Graves, I believe he holds the world's record for doing it the longest as far as a horror host.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for a long time. Tim came up with a character named Count Ghastly, who's like a third weird cousin of Sir Graves. And he wanted to make it a show. So Tim and I wrote, me more than Tim, we wrote a script that I was like, I've always wanted to have, like, do a version of this 50s sci-fi spoof that I did, pepper a horror host through it. and have an alternate version, as if you're watching it on a Saturday afternoon
Yeah.
or on a late Friday night. Cool horror hosting. So we rode around Mutant Swinger from Mars, and he had passed away, and we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I had finished. During the pandemic, one of the things I did was I cut together a retrospective documentary of the making of Mutant Swinger, because it was kind of a weird how it came about. Was very weird and very quick. And so after I had finished the retrospective documentary, I'm like, okay, what else can I do since I'm not doing anything else? And I was like, I might as well cut together the alternate version, and that's what I did. And so there's also a Count Ghastly presents Mutant Swinger from Mars version.
That's cool.
And it's pretty fun. It's as wacky can get.
That's
the
cool.
only time it's ever screened was there's a comedy club here in Burbank called Flappers. And it's kind of we know the woman who owns it. She's the Mitzi Shore of Burbank. And they were doing drive-in nights because they couldn't have comedy. So they were doing some comedy outside in a parking lot of a bowling alley, and during the pandemic. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, they were showing movies. And I was like, well, can I show this wacky version of my 50s sci-fi spoof? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So we showed it to a carload. How many cars? There was probably like 6 or 7 whole cars there. And most of the people I knew, but that's fine. And we had a blast. We had a blast watching it. I showed a couple of short films from friends of mine in front of it. I cut together some old trailers and some of those old drive-in, let's go out to the lobby, that kind of stuff. It was fun. And so the alternate version of Mutant Swinger won't be on this first batch we're going to do a separate special edition.
Okay.
But the documentary will be, and that's fun because just random. The company I used to work for back in Michigan had all of these weird sci-fi things laying around, props and models and things, and they were old and dusty and beat up. And I was like, "What is all this shit?" And my buddy Rolf, who was my buddy and my boss at times, was like, the guy I bought this place from worked on Flesh Gordon 2. Not Flesh Gordon 1.
No, Flesh Gordon 2.
Because there were so many unanswered questions from the first Flesh Gordon. But Flesh Gordon was a straight R, because Flesh Gordon 1 was a porno film.
Yeah.
That when they realized how well it was doing, cut it into a rated R version and gave it a wider release. Well, he did Flesh Gordon Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders, and that was like a straight up R-rated film. But all of these like weird models and spaceship models and miniature set buildings and things just laying around,
just laying there,
or in storage. So me and my buddy John Broadley would go over 2 or 3 times a week when things were slow, and we just start kit bashing stuff, ripping stuff apart, putting stuff back together, making it less phallic or sexual, and created this found random things in this warehouse / studio. And they actually had an original. We didn't use it, but when they did Flesh Gordon 2, the guy who owned it previously had purchased one of the original motion control systems from Industrial Light and Magic.
Nice.
And the thing was at that studio forever.
Dang.
And we never put it together or used it or anything, but I don't even know what ended up happening with it.
No.
But my buddy Rolf still has the manual. He saved the manual. He had to get rid of everything because the
Yeah.
studio unfortunately closed because everybody was doing digital,
Mm.
digital production and digital sets and things like
Yeah.
that. So, but and I'll give you guys one more thing before I don't bore you to death or
Yeah,
bore you to death.
no, I love your story, man.
I did a really low budget horror film a couple of years ago called Inner Demons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cross between Jacob's Ladder and Carnival of Souls. Which Carnival of Souls,
Yeah, actually.
Carnival of Souls, I tried to make as my first movie. I tried to
Did
remake.
you?
Yeah, it didn't work, which was fine. But uh,
I think Wes Craven presented a remake of that, didn't he?
he did,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why I couldn't get the rights.
Mm.
Although I think it was just before they became public domain.
Mm.
But yeah, I was approached by this company. They didn't have a lot of money. They're like, want to make a movie? It's like, sure. Can I make whatever I want? And I pitched them, and I pitched them an idea that originally I didn't know what the hell to make. They gave me 4 scripts. None of them worked for me. I was like, well, give me a day to think of something. I came up with this pitch. I pitched it the next day. They're like, great, go. And then as I was started to write it that night, I was like, oh my God, I just pitched them Carnival of Souls. Not exactly, but it's the same type of movie. It's called Inner Demons. It's on Prime. It's not expensive to rent. But Anchor Bay is doing a director's cut Blu-ray of it very soon too.
I like this. Like, I'm the acquisition for Anchor Bay, so we're going to be releasing my movie. I did this movie. My movie. I did this movie. My movie. I did this movie.
Well, to my credit, because yes, I'm a whore, but to my credit, they want. I offered them Dinner with Leatherface and Mutant Swinger from Mars, and they were like, "Yes, we would like to release those." They're letting me release Inner Demons out of the kindness of their heart because I wanted to see it. It's streaming, but I want to do a physical release, and the company I worked for, they only deal with streaming. They don't deal with physical or theatrical or anything. So they were really cool about it. Yeah, Tom, gonna check out Inner Demons too. Just remember, I made it for $9,000. It doesn't look like $9,000. It looks like it's more expensive, but I'm pretty proud of it for what little money we had.
Nice.
And
Tom's
the lead
on low budget film, so
yeah, and the lead Jessica Moore, she's also the lead in my Christmas movie. She's very good. And and Anastasia Washington and Francisco DeCoon and Kevin Thompson yes, he goes by Kevin Caliber. Kevin Caliber, he's in it. He's done some stuff for Jason Horton. I don't know if you know Jason.
No, I don't think I know Jason.
He's what I call the guru of crowdfunding. He's raised a lot of money crowdfunding his movies and done very successful with it.
Oh,
He's got a movie coming out called A Hard Place. And check out Inner Demons.
Yeah. Yes, Behind the Mask is great, but once again, this is a new Anchor Bay, so they don't.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have our old catalog, but
they got the Michael Kallio catalog.
That's right. We're bringing you a brand new catalog. It's going to be like 18 of my movies and like 2 or 3 other people's. I'm just kidding. No, we're getting.
I found this movie. It was directed by some guy named Michael Kallio. You guys want to buy this?
Hey, that's me.
Nah. No, I'm just teasing, man. But yes, I'm excited about what you guys got coming.
Yeah, I am too. I think with the way things are going right now, and with this stuff happen again, I'll reveal later. But this stuff happening and this stuff happening, 14K, lucky bastard. I think a Christmas movie it's less than 20. but we have a stop motion elf all through it, thanks to
Yeah.
Jeremy Mowry and his magical stop motion patience. Because I could do a stop motion elf, I would just kill myself by that, like halfway
But then
through a shot. I don't have the patience to move a thing one frame at a time. Click,
yeah.
click. I I did it actually. I did some enhancements to Hatred of a Minute that will be coming out on the Blu-ray. I animated the crank on a Jack in the Box, which is a very specific prop in my first movie. I animated it turning, and I did it for like 2 hours. And after that 2 hours, I was like, I'm tired of this. And my buddy, who lights and shoots a lot of stop motion stuff because he was lending me his little studio, goes, you could have just done it once and just looped it, right? And I was like, oh, Mr. Logical, thanks for telling me now. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just got obsessed, and then after 2 hours I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then there was an earthquake.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Luckily, the stabilization, he said, he's very good at locking things down, especially in this town and working on a lot of stop motion. It's like you have an earthquake and something shifts, you got to start over. Where his table was like, you can hit it with a Mack truck and the Mack truck would explode before the table moved. Yeah,
that's how it's done.
Yeah. So anyway, enough of my rambling.
No, it's good. I like you. You got all these like weird, interesting stories, so they're fun.
There's plenty more. I'm writing a book actually about them.
It's talk about juggling, man. You're writing a book, filming a film, going into a trilogy of like John Carpenter.
I know, right? Well, so the book will be called The Adventures of a Blue Collar Filmmaker, and it's part do-it-yourself filmmaking, part crazy stories. I have plenty of them.
Yeah,
and part cookbook. Because when I first moved to LA, I was broke and a bachelor, and I shopped at the dollar store a lot. So I started just jotting down, coming up with cheap meals that were, somewhat healthy, I hope, and cost effective. And then I started thinking, maybe I'll start asking some of my friends who are, people like Gunnar Hansen or Bruce Campbell, or I wanted to approach Keegan Michael Key at one point before he became Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
Wanted to approach these guys for whether it was a cocktail recipe or a comfort food dish or whatever that they made themselves that was cheap and easy and quick. And it didn't get very far, but I did get one from Gunnar, and it was his. He made a beef stroganoff that was to die for, and so I'm hoping I can put that in the book.
That's very Leatherface.
It's funny too. At the bottom it says feeds four people or one Leatherface. But yeah, that I'm doing that book, and I'm doing a book of all my dumb old poetry and doodles and that, and it's going to look like a notebook from when I was younger, and I'm calling it Teen Angst, and stories about all these dumb poems and why I wrote them and weird journal entries. And you know what? Here's the great thing about it, and this is the great thing about being an artist or being in the arts nowadays. I don't give a shit if no one buys the book. I really don't, because I can self-publish it. I can put it up on Amazon, and if 2 people want to buy it, they create the book. They send it to those people. If 100 people want to buy the book, they make 100 of them. They ship them out. If I am the only person that ever buys the book, it's on my shelf.
Right.
That's part of the reason why we're starting this sub-label at Anchor Bay, and it's part of the reason why, like, I reached out to a filmmaker that also did a movie for this streaming channel called V Channels.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to get a Blu-ray release, but he was so excited when I said I'm interested in doing one. And the guy who owns V Channels, because I did Inner Demons as V Channels as well, was like, I want to make my filmmakers happy, which was so lovely to hear because you don't hear that a lot
Yeah.
from a distributor slash film producer person. And he was very cool. Like, Anchor Bay wants to do a couple Blu-rays. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Nice.
So, and Graham Skipper, he made a movie called uh, The Lonely Man with the Ghost Machine. And I liked it a lot. And it's very minimalist and cool. And that's going to get a release soon too, a physical release.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that you make something, you can put it out yourself now.
Yeah.
Will you make money if you don't have a marketing team behind it? No, maybe not. Probably not. But like with Anchor Bay, we've got a marketing team. We have the connections, the clout, the history to get things out there. Even though we are starting basically as a startup again.
Yeah.
But if you make a movie, you can put it on YouTube. You can put it on Vimeo. You can put a price tag on it. Same with books, same with art. With like Etsy, and you got all of these places where you can sell your stuff. The hardest thing is just getting the word out.
Yeah.
And I feel fortunate to live in a time where I can do that kind of thing if I wanted to, and want to. Like I said, I'm going to make these 2 books. I don't know when I'll finish them. My goal is to have one done by the end of this year and put it out there. And like I said, if no one buys it, fuck it. I don't care. But if 18 people buy it or 10 people buy it, or like 5 of my friends buy it, I don't care. You remember James? Before we go, Greg, you remember James?
Yeah.
My producing partner.
Yes.
Did just that.
Mm-hmm.
He and I are still working on trying to get Rednecks versus Aliens going and things like that.
Yeah.
He unfortunately became ill and slowed us down, but he's doing better, and we're busting our butts trying to get things going still, and we will.
Yeah.
But he wrote this.
Yes. Road Rage to Road Sage.
And it's a book about 10 spiritual lessons you can learn in LA gridlock. Mm-hmm. It's a book about life lessons.
Right.
I contributed a couple of stories to it. But as he was trying to feel better, he wrote this book, and it's published. And you should go buy a copy. It's cheap.
Yes, I definitely will.
James Wilder Hancock. But it's just cool. Like this, you can do this now. 20 years ago, it was a hell of a lot different.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, I have created 3 documentaries. Like, I would call them legit, but they're like, for me, I put them up here on my YouTube channel.
Right.
They're right here on my channel. Would I love physical releases of them? Yes, but there's a whole lot of complications behind that with the people that are in them and everything, and you know, right? But they're out there. I created them, and they're out there, and they're up on my channel, and they're so stressful to make, but so wonderful once you get them out there, whether people see them or not.
It's holding something and going, I wrote this. I put this together. This is something I can put on my shelf and go, look, it's got my name on the spine. Yeah. Or put in a DVD player and play, or go to a theater and 4-wall a theater and screen like for everyone to see.
It would be wonderful to see what I've created on this, but I know they're right here. They're on my channel, and people can see them, and they're free, and they're little mini documentaries. That's very, very great
You can't monetize them on YouTube?
No, they're monetized.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, they are monetized, but I'm just saying they're free for people to watch. I get money from commercials that YouTube interjects into them.
Sure.
That's how I get paid. So, yeah.
Like NyQuil commercials and stuff.
Yeah. So, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Yeah, now I have to watch them.
Yeah, I did one about why we love 80s movies. I did one about a VHS because people who collect VHS and stuff, because I'm one of them. Why we love the VHS. They have a theme here. They're like why we love 80s movies, why we love VHS, and why we love the video store. So that's the 3 I've done. And I'm supposed to be working on one right now that I started over a year ago that I got in a headspace where I was like, I was very just like, I don't give a shit, sadly. But
I've been there.
Yeah, you know, it's like I was
45 minutes ago.
Things were just to feel like it was going to shit. So, but it's why the importance of independent film. So I got like 4 independent film directors. Tom is one of them, by the way. I interviewed them, asked them the questions, how they got started, how they feel about independent film and everything. I just need to edit it, and I'm just not been in the mood to edit it.
Well, I feel you, brother. There's a lot going on. I mean, the world is so stable currently. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. So,
like, hey, look, a pandemic. Hey, look, more bullshit. We won't go there though, because don't get me started. I'll start crying, and no one wants to see that. But
go ahead.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me force my way back onto your show.
No, anytime, man. I told you, anytime.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at 2.
Your time.
Like, no, we just did this.
I mean, if I didn't have things to actually do tomorrow, I would say, yeah, let's do it again tomorrow. But I do have things.
What are you going to do tomorrow?
I got things. I got to go places. I got to go out and get some stuff for the house and do things like that and all that. It's a Saturday, like a family, you know, not a family, but it's like get stuff for the house and do this and do that. So,
well, you're a dad though.
So yeah. So it's a day.
What are you doing Sunday?
Probably nothing till later in the day.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to bug you this weekend.
No, but I mean, like, no, I'm Eastern and you're Pacific, so like yours 3:00 is my
6.
Yeah, 6. So like by then, yeah, or well, closer to 8 because the kids got to go to bed for school. So
oh, there's that.
Yeah, so I can't have them screaming.
Yeah, we don't want children screaming. That's not good for dad's mental health. Well, thanks for having me on. We'll do this again. Let's we should do a thing where maybe like once a month or twice a month I come on and we talk about new releases and shit.
Yeah. Well, if you're ever free on a Wednesday night at 9:30 my time, if you're ever free on Wednesday night, I do a live show every Wednesday called the Physical Media Show.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it's me and my friend Tom, and we've been looking for a third person because so Tom and me are like, they're the old guys, right? We're the old guys, and we've seen all these movies, and we're getting all these things. And then we had these 2 younger guys. The first young guy actually went on to film school. Now he's trying to make movies. So he left us. And then the second younger guy, the bastard, we inspired him because we inspired him with all the movies we brought on to become a director. So now he went off to film school in Chicago.
Bitch.
Because we like that dynamic of like, I'm like 40 something, Tom's a little older than me, and then we have the younger kid who we can
abuse.
Yeah, abuse. Yes, abuse and mold. And then the second guy we got, he works at Subway and he's never fucking there.
Someone's got to. Those sandwiches ain't gonna make themselves.
Yeah, so we would try to find a third to fit him in, but like with what you do, like the movies in Anchor Bay, you would fit perfectly in there to come on and talk about physical media and stuff. So.
But I'm an old guy.
Yeah, but you're in the business. You're in the industry.
That's true.
So,
we'll figure something out. Maybe I can find you a young guy. My buddy Zach Morissette, who is an incredible artist and dear friend. We did a, and then I'm leaving because I know you have things to do, and it's booze o'clock for me. I'm just kidding. He and I did a podcast, not visual, but a podcast
Yeah.
several years ago called Two Star Theater, and it was me and him who are seasoned film cinephile nerds, and this very lovely woman named Summer. And Summer was younger. It's a very talented artist, but younger, and she liked movies, but she didn't like Beastmaster. And we would watch. We only did a handful of. I'd love to bring it back, but with time and stuff, it's just hard. But we watched the two that come in the top of my head, Beastmaster, because we would watch them to see if they actually, these were all on cable at the back of the day, or coming out in theaters. Do they still hold up? Beastmaster was one. Santa Claus the movie was another. I wish I could remember the rest off the top of my head. I think we did a Godzilla thing. But a lot of the time, she was like, I don't know why people watch this. And it's like, no, Summer, you don't understand. And she's like, I don't need to.
That's like, because what we do is like, we'll buy whatever we bought or have on our shelves, we watch them and we'll bring them on, and we're like, I watched this week, and then we talk about the movie. And then, like I said, with the one kid we inspired to become a director, the other kid hated Ghoulies, hated it just slipped my head. Gremlins. He hated Gremlins and Ghostbusters. We're like, do you even like movies? So
what does this kid do? Is the Subway kid?
He's the Subway kid.
Yeah, he can stay at Subway and make sandwiches. I'm a Ghostbusters fanatic. But
yeah, we love Ghostbusters. We love Gremlins. He's like, I don't get it. And he's like, oh yeah, and Beverly Hills Cop, it was all right. It's like, it's Beverly fucking Hills Cop. What do you mean it was all right?
What's his name?
We call him Rookie. His name's Rookie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I have nothing else to say except
that's why I do. It's just, he's a good kid. He's just Subway man. Anyway,
yeah.
But I do. He does. He's got questionable taste. He does. He does,
especially in jobs. Eat fresh, motherfucker.
On that note, I do appreciate you, Michael. Thank you so much for coming on.
Greg.
Everybody, thank you, man. And everybody out there in the chat, I appreciate you for hanging with us. Everybody watching at home.
Everybody.
Yes, and make sure you pick up my dinner. I want to keep saying my dinner with Leatherface.
I know.
Make sure you pick up dinner with Leatherface.
I'm not putting my in there.
You don't need words. It's three words is all you need. Or dinner with Leatherface. I almost did it again.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do this again sometime soon.
Definitely. Right. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
What he said.
Yeah.